Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is 2/22/2024 on the ancient moon calendar, and actually it's 2024 22 2/22. So it's February the 22nd, 2024 on the ancient moon calendar. February the 22nd, 2024 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2024 February 22nd on the Greco-Roman civic calendar. And again, all of those are one and the same from our perspective. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in alignment and accordance with the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the Divine Sovereign Living Justices and Eggleston Pauline Denise Ritchie, Sovereign Living Justice, and my free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminution nolo in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio redes. We are compete et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal natural head and body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American descendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites, Hamathites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Courts. Today, we are demonstrating the law by our sovereign status, which is the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3, living United States District for Columbia Court, and we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do hereby possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nation, are not at war, and we hereby exercise and demonstrate all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, non-pro-tunc. The principles that we share, along with our sovereign, powerful demonstrations and study, are principles of stare decisis, res judicata, ancient positive supreme law for the land long established in sovereign order. Erudite principles and processes for daily practical application to intelligently govern our vast estate every day is what our ancient ancestors have given us to share with the ancient sovereign nations, tribes, clans, states, and governments at earth. For this, we are grateful. Really quickly, we will state that we are having our 3-day full moon fast, 2024, February 23rd, 24th, and 25th. It is a monthly fast that we do for 3 days in alignment with the moon energies. And these moon energies for this particular month are moon energies in the area of prosperity, of wealth, of nation, of kin, of clan, of blood, and birthright, Islam. We were in the meeting before the recording started. We gave a few, some information regarding banking and things of that nature. Additionally, we will to show regarding government. The spaces that were previously enacted as being unoccupied regarding government, those spaces actually belong to us, the Moors. And when I say us, the Moors, we absolutely mean all Moors. And so we will to place on the public record a scripture regarding government, Romans, the 13th chapter, verses 1 through 5. This scripture is how you know that government is ordained by God, and government is about souls. It's about souls. It's about dominion. It's about doing good as well. And it's also about rulership. Rulership is done by courts.
Just one member, she had gone out. We can't hear you.
Let's pull up, let's see, one of the other versions. Let's pull up there's a specific word that we're looking for. Okay, here we go. Romans the 13th chapter, verses 1 through 5. And this again is to everyone on the land. Obey the government. This is from the Biblios, from the Bible. Obey the government, for God is the one who has put us here. There is no government anywhere that God has not placed in power. Therefore, because we are here, God has put us here. Who is God? God is us. Those who refuse to obey the laws of land are refusing to obey God, and punishment will follow. We don't anticipate that happening. For the policeman does not frighten people who are doing right. We are the police. We're God. We're the government. But those doing evil will always fear him. So if you don't want to be afraid, keep the laws and you will get along well. The policeman is sent by God to help you. But if you are doing something wrong, of course you should be afraid, for he will have you punished. He is sent by God for that very purpose. Obey the laws, then, for two reasons. First, to keep from being punished, and second, just because you know you should. And again, that is for the subjects on our land, to let them know that we're here. And they know it already. They've already stated it. We could look at the King James Version of this scripture as well, and it will say something slightly different, but it's still true nonetheless. It says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. That means that government and police and things, that's a spiritual office. Those are spiritual offices first. Okay, that's who we are. And that is why we must continue governing. And that is why all Moors are called to govern, because those are spiritual offices, and we are spiritual officers. For there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God, and that should say by God. So we would actually restate that and put, instead of the word of, we would put by. It says, whosoever therefore resisteth the power, that's spiritual first, resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. And that is why in the meeting before we started the recording, we made note of some subjects who were doing the right things. And we don't praise subjects, but we do give congratulations to them for doing as they should. It says, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? The power. Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain. Where it says here, he beareth not the sword in vain, that means he carries the word not in vain. He carries the word. The sword is the word. Whoever puts the word out on the public record and states that it is what it is by way of natural law, that is an example and an affirmation of our fiduciary document, Moors. We bear the word, not in vain. For he is the minister of God. And of course, not only are we God, we're the ministers for God because we're God. And there's none beside us, and we are not outside of God. We are God. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. And conscience, that word, the etymology of that word, and being able to look that word up. Look it up so that you know what it says. It says, for this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another hath fulfillment of the law. And we'll stop right there. Where payment is concerned and tribute is concerned, again, gold, silver, Moorish sovereign dolarium, real money. That's what we're talking about here, and that is how we're proceeding with everything that we do. Islam. Are there any questions, comments, or additional wisdom from this Holy Congress regarding what we've stated here thus far? So I'm going to leave that on the screen here. Go ahead.
Islam, it's good to see and know that we can read and properly understand and translate this from the enactment to the truth, because how it was perceived in the funny mirror, we don't do that anymore, and now we know the truth and we all can read. Islam.
Indeed.
Islam.
I'm grateful that we're able to see the truth too, Empress, because we did not know how to read, before, but we in the enactment, but we know how to do so now. Islam, Empress.
Islam.
Islam.
Mahat Kabade from Canaan land and Tajiri. I truly appreciate the affirmation of today's Congress. We're giving a lot of thought to the infrastructure of government, the actual implementation of our vision. And I wanted to affirm, the Congress and all our wise heads, because we have so many wise heads here. So we are wise heads, So I give thanks for the discussion. And I wanted to bring forth 3 key points that have arisen in me and in our family as we have been discussing it as well since last Congress. One is giving thanks for the information that our sister has given us about Public Law 73, which is a piece of law that we found on the IRS document or affidavit. And when we went into it and read it, was wonderful. It gave us like structure or bones for us to craft what our government services and programs were going to be. Yeah. And I want to give particular attention to the Bureau of Public Debt that we had restated as the Bureau of Public Credit, and giving some precise thought to that we will be printing delirium for Moors. This will be one of the works that we will be doing. I think there's front office kind of work, point of sale work, where we have our shops and points of and retail, and then there's behind the scenes of us, putting together the silver and gold coins that will be on the land for people to use, and printing the delirium for Moors to start issuing out into our community. So it allowed us to give some structure for ourselves as we think of government and the infrastructure that will be needed for us to cover all bases. So my second point is looking at that. The currency is one piece of it. The other part is goods and services.
Yes.
And so we must look at supply chains as something that is not something that somebody else does. It's something that we do, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We govern this. This is us. And give thought to investing in those who are doing what is life-sustaining and life-affirming in the enactments and the work that they do. So the farmers that are farming healthy food, food that's going to heal our bodies, you know what I mean, is a specific area for us to focus on, right?
Yes.
Right? And that is looking at both goods and services, services being our culture, but also services being our marketplace. And it's the matriarch's marketplace. And, previously marketplaces were places of acquisition and greed, but we are now restating or coming back into the true alignment, where this is places where we are fed, that we are healed, and we're nurtured. You know what I mean? Because I think there's food for the body, but there's also food for the mind and the spirit and the soul that needs to come back into the marketplace. So, and this is our marketplace. Yes, this is our government, right?
Yes. And this is actually we all are the only government at Earth. There is no other.
Yes, indeed.
Islam, I affirm.
Yeah.
Islam.
Islam.
Grand Rising Empress.
Great Rising Empress.
Yemaya Haris Bay.
Yes.
Tina Renee Randall. My intentions have been for the past 3 to 4 years to become self-sufficient and homestead. I have an opportunity to do so. There's property that can be used. It's in my family name. And with that, my intentions were to have a you process farm. And the reason why I did that, because the reason why I would do that is because I'm trying to eliminate so many employees.
Yeah.
That's
a good idea.
Yeah, right. And then everyone could come in and shop.
Yes.
With thinking of that, which at Congress after Congress after Congress, I'm here, I'm listening, and there were several Congresses back where you said something about write up a business plan, write
Yes.
a business plan and present the business plan.
Yes.
And so what I did was I went to the internet and I looked for templates of business plans. But before I go into that and I try and restate and rewrite,
Yes.
I would like to know, if I'm presenting it to the government, is there any specifics? I mean, if there's none right now, if it's anything that you could think of later, I'm all open, I'm all ears. But that was a burning question to me. One. The second question was, and I think you already answered it, if I was to accept fiat and also dollarium, I know it's well within my right as a business or corporation, whichever one I will be. But you answered the question on how that would work, because that's really what I wanted to know. Even though you didn't know I was going to ask you, you answered it. And I just want to say gratitude and thank you.
Islam.
And I understand that process. Islam.
Yeah. So to your first question,
yes.
Let me ask you a question. As you're writing your business plan, how would you want a business plan presented to you if someone was coming to you for $500,000 or $1 million? If you were, what would you expect to see in their business plan? That's how you write up yours.
Okay.
Because in reality, you'll be financing your own through your own trust and your own money. You're the bank. Remember that. There are banking structures and banking buildings, but you're the real creditor. You're the real bank. So write it up as if someone was bringing it to you. What would you expect to see? It being hardest on them, what would you expect to see where you wouldn't want anything left out? Write yours that way.
Embraced and accepted.
Indeed.
Gratitude. Islam. Grand rising.
Yes, and you know, where the fiat is concerned, our job is to do away with it altogether. So having people to go and get gold and silver or silver coinage for the products is in order. Is in order. And so that is how we're doing things. We've already started, and we received. There was no resistance to people having silver coins to get the products that we have, and most of those products being, you know, licenses and things of that nature, paperwork, and they had absolutely no resistance to silver coinage for the same, or gold coinage for the same.
Gratitude.
That makes you your own bank. Even receiving gold and silver coinage makes you your own bank. And you don't have to trade with a bank that accepts fiat for that matter anyway. You are the bank. So, and then any suppliers, because see, you're actually your own supplier where homesteading is concerned, pretty much for the most part. Get it started with whatever you get it started with seeds and whatever you can, you know, we wouldn't even really have to go use fiat for seeds if we knew where to go to get the plants and whatever it is that we're getting. For example, we have seeds here that we just pull from fruits and vegetables that we get our hands on, you know. Some of it did come from grocery stores, so there were ones and zeros being passed back and forth for that. But even now, we're preparing to do demonstrations where all of that is concerned, because the systems dictate that, you know, and it's not the system telling anybody anything, it's us telling systems that they must accept what we have. So that is how that's working, and it's working very, very quickly, I might say. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom regarding Islam, Empress?
I have a wisdom, thought, inspiration about more sovereign delirium, gold tender being the currency of the world, right? Because, like, so here it is right now. More sovereign delirium equals $1, right? Like, that's what my affidavits I've been sending out state.
It says it should say United States dollar instead of U.S. dollar. It should
Okay,
say
so United States dollar. I accept the correction there. And so, but in the world right now, there is an imbalance in currency, so that certain places in the world, their dollar is not the same as United States dollar.
Right.
And so, as Congress, how do we equalize that? How do we bring it that everyone's dollar equals more sovereign delirium, or the lawful tender on the land? And so that was my question, or that was the thought that has been going around for us. So, in some places, it's $14 for one United States dollar, if you get what I'm saying there.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we bring it so that on the land, the lawful tender is the same everywhere? Yes.
It will be so as everyone nationalizes. As they nationalize and we come together, those that are nationalizing whatever currency, whatever national currency they have, see, the Spirit is going to tell them to peg it.
Okay.
But it has to be the real United States and not the fake one, not the dead one from the last era. There's a creditor United States, and then there was previously a debtor United States. Okay, we're the creditor United States, which is from ancient times the States United. From ancient times we've been the States United. And then there's the United States of Africa, the United States of Europe, the United States of Brazil, United States of Venezuela, the United States of Australia, the United States of not England, Europe. There are those are ancient from time way long before any other actors came on board. So the coming together of us and pegging our monies together, it's going to be based on gold and silver. So if whatever the price of gold and silver is, we'll balance that out with 1 unit of our money. One delirium is like 0.05 ounces of gold or something of that nature. And gold is 2,000. Let's say if gold is $2,000 an ounce, it's 2,000 delirium per ounce. And that's on the other side. But then when we nationalize things and bring it in and put it on our books, it's 50,000 delirium per ounce. So there's a separate set of books that we keep over on our side, on the nationalized side, versus when we're doing commerce with others.
Islam, I give thanks for that. I didn't cite that there was still a transfer going on, so that I thought, so delirium equals 1 unit. So then how does this work? Is everything on this 1 unit measurement, right? So give thanks. Yes. I appreciate.
Yes, that one measurement, that 1 unit measurement is an actual United States gold dollar. It's a round gold dollar. United States round gold dollar. It's not a paper thing. And then and so everything is pegged to that. And delirium and that are the same. They're the same essentially in terms of the value. Except with delirium, we print delirium out and Because, see, the Federal Reserve has to have the ability, not the Federal Reserve, but the Treasury has to have the ability to print out its own, we have the ability to print out our own money. We're the Treasury. So we have to have money available at all times. You know, and that means all of us should have Delarium available. You should be able to print it out and have some sitting around in case you have to do business. See, we keep it here, and when Moors come by, they come by wanting change for their Delarium and things like that. So we have it going that way already. And they may need a gun license, not a gun license, firearm license, or they need a driver license or something of that nature. Bring either some Delarium, and in our case, they've been bringing a lot of silver and gold for our services.
And as a bank, you're doing currency exchange as well, not just transfers. Like people are not just only exchanging for a license, but also receiving exchange for their silver and gold for the more sovereign Delarium receipts.
We give them the receipts so that they don't have to carry around as many. We had a shipment of silver that Moore brought by, and it was quite a few silver coins, and he wanted Delarium for that, so we gave him Delarium for his coinage, and then he got a document from us as well, a court document from us as well. So, yeah, we're doing banking and court actions and everything already.
I give thanks for your preparation. You know what I mean? Give thanks for your preparation. We truly appreciate you, and yes, I know the whole Congress is feeling it.
Well, by the way, I'm not doing anything that you all should not already be or should be doing when we are all to govern. We are all to govern. Yes. And we all have the same authority.
Yes.
We do it together.
Islam.
And for that, we are so grateful because we got a strong government here. We love it.
Yes, indeed.
Islam.
Give thanks.
Islam, Justice Constance.
I noticed you forget about Great Britain. So I say Great Britain is part of Europe.
Yes, they are part of Europe. They're considered a part of Europe, and in reality, that is where a lot of the work that we did regarding the creation of citizens happened. Is there at Great Britain, which is part and parcel of Europe. And so, let me just say this about that, Justice Constable. I'm glad you brought that up, because they make the distinction there between Great Britain and Europe the same way they make the distinction between the United States and America. It's the same dynamic. However, because we govern all letters, all numbers, and everything, we just keep it together. One is one and one is the other, but we're all of them. Yeah, we're so glad you're there, Nobility.
Yeah, I'm here. I have my demonstration to do. I have not done anything yet because since I came out of the hospital,
yes.
I said I don't find to be able to do what I was doing before I went to the hospital, like putting 40 documents on the public record and so on. But
yeah,
I know it's going to come back,
Yeah, of course it will. The ancestors know what they're doing with you. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing with you in terms of your healing and all of that. They're just let it be what it is and go with it. They know what they're doing. And the work will be here. It's not going anywhere. there a blueprint provided for the integration of Dolarium on digital currency platforms? Someone asked about a blueprint provided for integration of Dolarium onto digital currency platforms. Noble Phoenix knows something about that, except that what he did had to be restated. Because if you Google Dolarium or more sovereign Dolarium, you'll see some of the platforms where it comes up on some platforms. We just look at the origin of those platforms and we just ensure that that platform has been restated. If it hasn't, we just restate it and then lien, levy, and bond, and so they can continue doing what they're doing. So if you want to know about digital currency platforms and things of that nature, just Google Dolarium or more sovereign Dolarium. And you'll see where some platforms will come up, several. Listen, the moment this Congress introduced more sovereign Dolarium to the nation, the Moors went right on and just ran with it. And they started putting stuff everywhere and demonstrating everywhere and doing all kinds of things, and we were just loving it. We did not stop any of that in terms of, we didn't object, rather, not stop, but we didn't object to any of that. We said, do what all you're going to do. And then we'll take a look at everything, and that's what we're doing along the way. So, yeah, put it on a digital. Right, Noble Phoenix did put one. So for the one who's inboxing me, you may want to connect with Noble Phoenix and just kind of talk with him about how that was done, because that's important. There are several Moors who put Dolarium up on different platforms, and some Moors came out with apps and some of everything with more sovereign Dolarium everywhere. Gold currency connections, just all kinds of great work was being done. Islam, Justice Malik.
Islam, Empress, we can't hear you.
You can't? Let's see.
We hear you loud and clear on this end.
Okay. Justice Malik, can you hear Empress? Say that again, Empress.
Oh, Islam, I can hear you.
Islam, yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Can you hear me, Noble?
I don't think he can hear you, Empress Angel. That was Justice Malik. Yeah, he's going to have to sign out and sign back in.
Islam, Empress Light, we cannot hear you.
Islam, Noble, can you hear me? Noble Malik, can you hear me?
Okay, just one moment, guys. Let me just. So he cannot hear me, and I don't think he can hear you either, because he wasn't responding. So what I did is something I don't normally do. Is I put him out of the platform so he could sign back in, because he couldn't even hear me saying you'll have to sign back in. You'll have to sign back in. Once he comes back in, he'll be able to hear watch. Justice Malik, are you there?
Yes, I can hear now, Empress.
Okay. Okay. Islam, thank you, nobility.
Thank you. Thank you.
Islam. So let's see. What else did we have for this Congress? I had several things. Some of it I decided not to present. We have properly placed the banking system structure in place. Inheritance comes only after the structure is in place to receive the wealth. The demonstration that we did with the check going to the bank and the bank recording it, I have a question for those who witnessed that demonstration that we did, where we signed into our account and showed you that amount. My question is this, because I'm just going to prove a point here in terms of more sovereign Dolarium. If you gather up some tin cans and you do an affidavit and you send your affidavit with those 10 cans to the bank, will the banking system deposit those 10 cans? I'm just asking.
Islam, yes.
Why do you say yes, that they will do that? That the system will do that?
Well, this is Justice Travis. I'm saying that from the position of there's no legal tender now, really.
Legal money.
It can be tendered for a payment of a debt. So I'm thinking in that mindset as the same thing as a deposit. I may be wrong. I yield.
Islam,
I'll add to that. Because money was not specifically, it has not clearly been defined under, or tender of payment and money really has not been clearly defined under the UCC, which they're governed by, and because they're insolvent and bankrupt, they don't have the right to demand any specific type of species for payment or for money to operate in our system. All they really need is a commodity that has value. So if you give something of value, then that is your value. That is your money. So that's another way, I guess, that we can kind of explain that. But from a banking standpoint, they don't have the right to deny it. That's the easiest way I can think to explain it. They don't have a right to say, we can't take this as money, because they're insolvent. They're bankrupt. Islam.
Very interesting.
Islam.
Empress Shasha, and then Empress Angel.
So my take on that. Now, our affidavits are the law, of course. However, have we stated, has this Congress stated that CAMs are currency or are money? So it really would depend upon, so we have the money lawful tender is more sovereign delirium, gold, silver, commodities. However, what would you have, what was written in the affidavit as to determine what the CAMs were? Are they money? And if we haven't stated that on the record, on the congressional assemblies, then no, I would state no. However, it has been made very clear what is money, what is legal tender, where we determine the flow and the currency. So I think knitting it down to a fine point would be the contents of the affidavit, even as the affidavits are law. What are we stating in the document? And if we state that tin cans are money, lawful money, and they're coming from us, then yes.
The answer to the question is that everybody is right thus far. Go ahead, Empress Angel.
Islam, yes, so substance for substance, and tin being a mineral, so it would be a value substance for minerals at that point. And then it has to have a weight to it. Would there be a weight on the tin can? Well, then it would have to be stated in the affidavit then that these cans have a weight value, because we do weights and measures in that regard, because that would be like a metal from that perspective. So if you state it properly in the affidavit and you give it a value of weight and thus and so, and also what has not, I don't think been mentioned, the collective, well, Empress Sasha did state this, but the collective, it must be a collective, unified decision that this is going to be an acceptance between the people collectively or the people who you are doing business with, that this is going to be a, substance that is used in exchange for value. That's one.
Interesting. So here's my question too. Everyone is right, regardless of what you said, because even if you said no, whether you said no or yes, you're still both right. Tin is a commodity. However, it depends on what's on the affidavit, and so on and so forth. Justice Malik says that the junkyard regards tin cans as money. With us knowing that, okay, let's take that a few steps further and think about pawn shops and things of that nature. When you go to a pawn shop and you're just turning things in like camcorders, electronics, big screen TVs, jewelry, things of that nature, things that are made of a certain material, or antiques, things that are really old, et cetera, and they give
an appraisal.
Yes, they give an appraisal, and then they say, okay, we think it's worth this much or that much. If all, and this is just a question for us to think about, if all of that stuff is worth something, why wouldn't Delarium be worth something? And this is just for those who sometimes have a hard time knowing that Delarium is money. But even more so, pawn shops pawn shops were kind of the go-between between gold and silver and real money and fiat. So there's something in that whole paradigm of pawn shops and trade and exchange that we can also look at where Delarium is concerned. Something to look at there, just to think about. Because see, once we think about that once we think about it intelligently, like we always do, we will know then that anything that we say is money is money. Anything we say, that if we say it has value, it has value.
Islam,
Empress.
As you state what you're stating, what I'm seeing is, what I'm hearing actually, what's bouncing in my head is the Midas touch.
Yes.
Everything we touch turns to gold.
Yes.
What I'm seeing also is, by virtue of us having it, writing an affidavit and stating it is nationalized, at such point, of course, it's risen from the dead, but value is now has value.
Yes.
And so I'm just literally, what's flying around is my head, the Midas touch.
Yes.
And so by virtue of our stating a thing.
Yes.
Wow.
And has the value and the substance.
Yes.
And also, as you talk about the pawn shop, when you look at the chessboard, the pawn piece is kind of the sacrificial one more, but
yeah.
I'm just seeing that chessboard at the same time.
That's good, Empress.
It's right before my eyes. I mean, and so I'm going to hush now because there's too many things flying around in the brain. But it's just so clear. It's so clear. And we are the gold.
Yes.
Create the gold. We state the gold. We call the gold. We make the gold. I mean, it's so, going back to your original question, my yes and affirming is emphasized.
Yes.
I yield. Yes.
Islam. There's something that she just stated that triggered a memory for me that has value to our conversation. In my career, in corporate America in the old era. In insurance, we have what is known as stated value on a policy.
I remember that time.
Yes, wherein if you had an item that you did not have to use actual cash value, which is the depreciated amount that is agreed upon by other items of similar nature, construct, quality. That's actual cash value depreciated. Then you had replacement costs. What is it going to cost to replace that item? Then for a little bit more insurance premium, you can do what was called a stated value. Mostly that came into effect with artifacts and specialized items or antique automobiles, as an example. Because you put so much labor, so much whatever into it, you can insure it for a stated value. Okay?
See, but that's the stated value thing only happens for things that are of value that they don't have the authority to price.
Right. But like antiques, because antiques, you really can't find an actual value for them, and you can't go by common because most of the same age is not in the same condition. So it's not even a fair comparison. So that's why you had to do a special rider on the policy for stated value, which was accompanied by an assessment, some type of assessment that you had to make, and you got somebody else to agree with you. Okay? That's basically an affidavit in our language today.
It's a court action with witnesses.
Yes. So that's why that triggered that. And I'm saying, so when you're dealing with an item like the tin cans, it's a stated value. You're absolutely right. And I'm like, wow, that because the stated value came from the affidavit. That's the court action. Wow.
So, now, see, you done just my turban is getting hot. Because think about what you just said, Nobility. We need to determine what the delarium is worth.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm excited to share it.
Stated value. Wow. And you know what the thing about stated value is? It's holy breath.
Yes.
Stated value is the breath.
And to be honest, that's exactly what we did already when we first introduced it. We determined, we said, this has value. The land and all the resources, everything that's under the land, above the land, everything y'all done built, that's all ours, and it has a value. Now we're going to determine this is the amount that we're going to put in our treasury, and it's worth this versus your dollar.
And they didn't build it. We did.
So we stated the value.
Yes.
And the world said, oh, okay. Well, they did a stated value, and you can't argue it.
You can't argue with it.
Wow.
Islam, let me do a little digging. Yes, Islam Empress, I'm gonna dig while you're doing that, Empress. Go ahead.
Okay. So I see what you just said, but I'm still transitioning into the idea of species. So default currency is a species, and everything that we create, we have restated, we've made new, we've brought to life.
Yes.
Right? So we don't use default currency because we can't restate it. It's still in the death system. If that's how I understand it, right? Some things can't be restated, if you get what I'm saying.
Hold on, Empress.
But can it? So that's why I'm trying to understand this idea of currency. Like, if the dollar is a Trinidadian dollar, and I go there and say, now every Trinidadian dollar now equals more sovereign dolarium, am I restating the dollar?
No,
because of species. So that's where I'm trying to. How does this translate? Islam, give thanks.
We did a video on something called fiduciary money. That is how you restate fiat.
Islam.
Hold on a minute, please. Just hold on a minute, please. Let's just think about that. Just a moment. The way to restate, we restated fiat already. The way we do it, or the way we did it, is we would put the fiat, and we did a fiat burning ceremony to affirm the restatement of it. But the way you restate fiat is you scan it into your computer, you change it. Change the image. You're not changing the actual fiat, you're changing the image of the fiat. When you change the image of the fiat and you print out what you've changed, what you've altered, because you didn't alter the fiat, you altered the image. You didn't deface the fiat because it's already defaced. Then you print it out, and then you can put an affidavit with it and use it. It looks a lot like fiat, but it's altered. The way that we altered it is we've made everyone's skins brown in the fiat, in the image, not the fiat, but the image of it. Now that can be used. That's fiduciary money. We did it on the video. We showed how to do that. And then even the serial number should be AA222141A1. So we showed how to restate fiat. See, the fiat itself, it was created, it started not in truth. It didn't start in truth. It started in fraud. So you wouldn't be using that. What you would do is, again, scan it in, alter the image that you have there, and then print it out. And then what you do with the fiat is you destroy the fiat, you burn it, so that it can't go back into circulation. We showed that. We got in front of our fireplace with the camera and showed us burning fiat. Why? Because it's not customary on our land. It's not customs and usage on our land. It's not customs and usage. Now, again, those who use fiat, if you're using fiat, don't feel bad. It won't be around much longer anyway. Don't feel bad. One thing about all that we're all saying and doing is that we keep a clean conscience on everything we do, simply because we're God. We're going to do what we have to do here. But what I'm stating is that you can use fiduciary money, but it must first and foremost, before you use it, this is how you use, because this is how we use anything that we do. You do a lien, levy, and bond on the place that you're doing, and then you send notification of what the fiduciary money looks like. Because see, fiduciary money, I'm just saying, fiduciary money will fit into those machines at the like different places. Those machines where people slide notes in and so on and so forth, fiduciary money will fit there. But Delarium will too when proper notification is given. So it's up to us on how we do what we do, because again, just like Noble Phoenix said, stated value is real. That's real. We've already stated that everything is on the land. And you state that when you do a lien, levy, and bond. You're taking it out of lost at sea status and putting it on the land, whatever it is. Grocery store, nail salon, it don't matter what it is. And then when you do that, then you go and you use. But you notify. When are you coming in to use that? You're coming in on this date. And then when you go in, the only thing that comes out of your mouth is all rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a Sovereign Living Ancient Article 3, Moorish American, Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the Sovereign Living Justices. What is your name? And then you start your conversation. And I'm telling you now, Moors, I'm telling you now, that thing done fell so fast. That old system has fallen so fast that old enactment of a system has fallen so fast that we must do these very types of demonstrations. We must do them now. I'm just saying, hurry. because that thing is I'm just saying, and you all can look at videos and you can listen to the news and you can look at what's happening and see that thing is done. It's finished. So these types of demonstrations, do the demonstration, and listen, if you don't do so well the first time you demonstrated, go back and look at what you did, okay, and then do it again. We must continue to do. We must keep going. And that's the thing about demonstrations is we don't just do them once. We keep doing them. Go back, change, look at what you did. If there's anything you can change, change it. If there's anything that needs to be added to it, add it to it. You know, but it has to be done. You know,
and truly, every time I do, everything opens up. Like something just was like a new thought arises, and I was like, I didn't even see that before. Yeah, it just keeps on opening. Yes.
Every time. Don't be embarrassed and not go back. Go back and try and say, we're here again. I'll rise and stand and remain standing. What is your name? Okay, this is what we're doing. And you don't have to explain it. You just, because see, what the things that you're using, and this is the purpose of study, the things that you're using fit the system already. We have checks that fit the system. It's our system. So all we're doing is notifying that we're coming to use our system. You know, we must do those demonstrations because from what I'm looking at and from what I'm seeing and from what the ancestors are showing us, I know they're showing you the same thing. I know they are. And if they're not, I'm putting it out there into the ethers now that they show you the same thing we see.
I affirm.
Yeah. Yeah. Because see, our kin are going to will to have things and eat, and they're going to, you know, and their fiat is not going to help them.
Yes.
It's not going to help them. So this is a peaceful transition. We must keep moving forward. And I want to thank Noble Phoenix and Justice Howard and Justice Earl regarding that health food thing, because to me, that is what the transition looks like, is you take it a step by step, and as things come up, you address those things, but you don't compromise. You address them by affidavit or whatever. Make sure that there's a good explanation of everyone's status and all of that. And as long as your status is stated, everyone else's status is already stated as well. So you don't have to get everybody to sign a subject status document when you're in the right status. Okay? And then where Moors are concerned, we would encourage them to declare the nationality, but if they don't believe in Moor science and all that, fine. They will just be in the status that they're in until the spirit awakens them. You know, because Moors, we have set our own time clocks within us, you know, and then they're going to be wondering, how is it that you get to do that anyway? So, Noble Phoenix, that stated value piece is something. That's something right there. I'm gonna do a little digging on that, because that's. I just pulled up. Let me just see if that comes up. So I just looked up in the dictionary the word stated, because we always look at the word state. Let's see if we can pull up the word stated in Black's Law Dictionary. Oh, well, the word sovereign right came up, so I guess we better look at it. A right which the state alone or some of its governmental agencies can possess, and which it possesses in the character of a sovereign, for the common benefit and to enable it to carry out its proper functions, distinguished from such proprietary rights as a state, like any private person may have in property or demands which it owns. Interesting. That needs to be finessed, by the way. But let's just take a look here at stated value. Now, my dictionary here, my Webster's Unabridged 1828, the word stated means established, fixed, regular, declared, alleged, or formulated. Established, fixed, regular, declared, alleged, formulated. Again, it's a court action when you're doing stated value. Let's see if it's in Black's law.
Islam,
Empress.
So by virtue of that stated value being in the insurance industry in the funny mirror, it would be a formulated or alleged, would it not?
Because yes, but it's a court action. Someone has to rule on it, and that's what the two witnesses do.
Yes.
See, they were teaching, there it is right there, stated, determined, fixed, settled. So when you talk about a settler or a settled account, that means someone stated the account. That's what I'm saying about the stuff that we're doing, about what we're doing. We're settling the land already. We're determining by court action, which automatically makes that's a state right there.
That's it. It's fixed at that point.
So when people say, well, y'all aren't a state because of blah, blah, blah. Yes, we are, because we determined and fixed and settled things. Those are financial terms, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Those are court terms. Those are financial terms, court and bank terms.
Islam, and I might state that the people who usually make those statements haven't comprehended the DeLorean that we already have stated. So that part.
I'm sorry.
And they're not in their correct status.
No.
And you can't state. One whom is not in their correct status cannot state anything.
Correct. That is correct. So, everything that we have done, let's see, stated value of your policy, value insurance, type of coverage for collectible items that insures the item for a specified amount that is usually well below the actual value of the item. It does not cover the full replacement value of the car or other value. You know what, where stated value is concerned, because I see there, Noble Phoenix, where stated value is being cheapened and lessened. Whatever the item is, in order for stated value to be the true value, that item has to be restated.
That is correct. And what most people did who were competent using stated value, and that was the key, they would come up with an amount that would cover their labor, that would cover whatever it took to fully replace that, and they would just pay the higher premium in the event that there was a loss, because this goes hand in glove with your inalienable right to contract, your God-given right to contract. Your insurance policy is a contract. It's always been a contract in the form of a bond, the bond being the promise to pay in the event there was a loss. Insurance, contract, bond, all the same in essence, in principle. So you always had the right to negotiate not only the terms and conditions, but even how it was going to be paid or how much would be paid by the use of stated amount. Okay, but that applied for specific things. Okay, you couldn't do stated amount on every aspect of your policy. You could do it, but you could do it on certain items where the value could fluctuate depending on whatever it was?
Well, one thing that because I used to work at State Farm back in the day, in the sleeping state, in the enactment. With stated value, your stated value was always approved if you added something that had to do with sentimental value, or if you had like if you say this goes back to my great-great-grandmother.
Yes.
You say things like that, they always approve stated value.
Yes.
Whatever you said it was, they would say, yep, okay, that's what she says. But you had to go back in time or you had to connect with feelings.
Well, or it had to have some other form of value. For example, Tina Turner's legs were insured for several $1 million for many, many years. Her legs, because that was an item that gave value to her and her persona in the public. Okay.
Yeah.
Certain people's voice was insured. Okay.
Yeah,
so those are not something you can. Yeah, the vocal cords. So they protected it. Yeah. Somebody's fingers, Alicia Keys on her, or some other pianist, their fingers were insured. Okay. Certain people's costumes, because Michael Jackson's glove had special stated value. That glove wasn't worth $20, but because he put it on and made it famous, that value of that thing, stated value, ended up being $2 or $3 million. Yeah.
And stated value actually is a matter of what is it worth to the corporation that's insuring it.
Bingo.
Exactly. Islam.
You understand that?
So that's really what we have done with, again, our delirium, and even our estate. We know how vast it is. We cannot really come up with a number. They don't have a number for the vastness of our estate. There isn't a number. It really isn't. It's unlimited.
That's all the more reason why us having a legal system that we designed and we used for our stuff is so important. No one else can do that. We had to have a legal system designed by us that we put on the public record like we've done.
And that's why I love what you shared earlier with that video, the first video you showed with the sister the lady out of Alaska.
Yeah.
And what she stated.
Yeah.
Because they recognize this is not their system. This is our system that we done created, and they know we are back and we are governing competently, and there ain't nothing to be said from the people, in the peanut gallery, all right, for lack of a better term. There's nothing for you to say because you can't reach up to this level because you're not on that level, okay? You're not in air.
Well, more importantly from our perspective, I want to be sure that because in reality, they are what you call joint heirs, but their heirship is a spiritual heirship. In other words, and that's only the ones that get in alignment with the subject status. That is their inheritance, is the subject status. But I will say this too about that. Again, we don't have to fight anybody about our estate. It's ours. It's always been ours. And here's the thing: as we demonstrate competence and peacefulness and agreement, because that's the key with even the mailing process. Our agreement to do so is how come everybody else is moving out of the way and getting off of that piece. Because we claimed it. It's ours. By our competent, peaceful use of it. It's a trust. It's a trust, and there's offices that go with that trust. So, we want to be sure that we keep our energy in a place where we don't, because it's not our will to be mean to anybody. But it is our, and not that anyone here was being mean to anybody, but it is in our interest that everyone on our estate is covered, insured, and covered, and essentially happy. With that being stated, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom, regarding anything that we've stated thus far? Every time we state something, it is settled. Isn't that beautiful? Islam, Empress.
Islam. Your previous statement right before the last one just brought me right back to mother.
Yeah.
When mother is grounded and peaceful and in balance,
yes,
all around her
yes,
are at peace and happy. And so as you've made the statement about the subjects and all of those not being mean, and that's what really flew in, was matriarch.
Yeah, just
when
be ourselves.
Matriarch is herself.
Yes.
All is well.
All is well.
Everyone knows what is expected of them. They are in their place. They are comfortable. They're doing.
Everyone
and all is well.
Yeah.
All is well. And so, that's my little piece of wisdom.
You know, in the last era, the ones that were previously doing business as Jews would say, happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
They would say happy wife, happy life. And that is the other version. That's the previous era's version of what you just stated about the matriarch. And it's not anybody else's, even no one else can even do that for the matriarch. She must do it for herself because she's doing it for everyone else too.
That's it.
The matriarch sets the temperature and the tone for everything else. Everything else.
She is the key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Music. So when music is written, it is written in a particular key. And there are certain chords and notes that are harmonic to the key. So the matriarch is the key. And if the matriarch is not, if her tones are out of order, then the concert is ruined. And that's really it. The piece, the opera, the opus is all out of order and out of alignment. So the matriarch is the key.
Yeah. But you know, everyone is aware of that. We just had to be aware of it, you know, and then go ahead and activate the piece.
Yes.
You know, and that comes, you know, our sons are always like they wondering about what's going on with their ends, their money. And so the matriarch brings forth that and makes sure everybody, that's where peace comes in, because see, our sons are peaceful when their money is right.
That is very, very true.
Unless, I mean, you know, sons, I can't speak for you, but I'm just saying, you know, when their money is right, they're comfortable. There's a question in the chat. Empress, is it a non-interest bearing account? Okay, you don't need any account because you have a treasury account that has a treasury routing number, and then your state security number is that account. So you don't need an account at all because you have one already. And you can do your banking right from where you are. And again, what I was stating earlier, Morris, about doing the demonstrations out and about, time to do that. It's time to do that. It's time to do that. And let things be what they shall be when we do that. Because That other thing is done. So we're just going to go ahead and settle the land. Now, I will say this, Morris, any demonstration, and I'm speaking to myself first, any demonstration that you have planned to do that you may have been a little bit fearful to do, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it when you're ready. I want to bring up one other topic. We can, if we will to do it, have a president and a vice president for our United States Special Purpose Vehicle, the financial one. We can have a president and a vice president, and I have two names in mind for those positions for this November. Two names in mind. And again, we have to agree on this because we don't have to have anybody because we're already leading. However, there are two people that the Spirit just continues to bring forth, and they already know, the Spirit has told them too, about the presidency and the vice presidency for our United States. Those two people are Michelle Obama and Charles Payne. Now, we know that other United States was funny mirror stuff. We know that. So this is not funny mirror stuff. This is, we have a financial empire, and within that financial empire is this special purpose vehicle that deals with the subjects and that deals with a lot of different things. So I'm putting this out here for us to discuss. I'm not stating that it's a done deal unless this Congress agrees that it's a done deal. But those two will no longer be acting; they'll actually be working for us. Those two, they're already aware of it. But we the elect must state that on the public record. So we don't necessarily have to speak about that this time around. Go ahead, Nobility. There's
Islam, Empress.
Islam.
Could you familiarize me with Charles Payne? I'm not familiar with him.
That's why we were going to talk about it in the next meeting, because that will give you some time to do some research on him. We're not going to have anyone foreign. It won't be any foreign. It won't be any subjects, no citizens, nothing. Charles Payne is a financial analyst. He's also a correspondent in the media. In fact, I'll just go ahead and pull up his image so that you can do a little research about him. The reason why I'm stating what I'm stating about these two is because of the closing of, or the sunsetting of that particular, of the other one, and then ours coming in. This is Charles Payne. Very, very, very aware of the numbers. and things of that nature. So I just thought I would put that before you, just to, because there's some, as this we want the transition to be as peaceful as possible. The transition has already happened, by the way. It's already complete. It's finished. Just so that you're aware.
Islam. Yeah,
Islam.
we will definitely need to have some major discussion on this, I think, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of controversy over, I don't know Charles Payne, but Michelle Obama and so forth, and some other people that...
Fuck off, Phoenix, you stupid idiot.
And not only that, but the more important question, to be the president of what? The corporation company that they had has been dissolved, and it doesn't really exist. And,
right.
The White House Incorporated. What are we talking about? So
blah
we need
blah 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 blah.
Can you please mute that? So what I'm saying is we have to kind of clarify some things as to. We don't need to do it now.
Okay.
We don't need to do it now. Please.
Wait a minute. Well, let me just say this. Don't look in the funny mirror when you think about them. Don't look in the funny mirror, no one. Don't look in the funny mirror. We're talking about our United States special purpose vehicle. It's a financial vehicle. Don't look in the funny mirror because again, that thing is done. It's finished. It's done. So whenever we speak about anything or anyone, we're not talking about them. What we're looking at is resumes right now. We're not talking about her personal and all. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about resumes right now. For that, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about anything in fake media. We're not talking about anything fake.
Islam, quick question. So that means we would write their scripts for them as well?
Yep.
Very well. And so that means the inauguration would be restated as well. They would be wearing the turban and the fez as well, and the Moorish flag, and, all these things would be properly stated.
Well, they won't do that because they won't do that. What they will do is commercial stuff, because that's really why it exists. It's for commerce. It's not for Moorish science. Although commerce is more science, but it's not at the sovereign level. They would be at the commercial level, not the sovereign level. We're at the sovereign level.
Islam.
Okay. Islam.
Yes, they need to go watch Brother Taj. He talks about this. When this goes down and comes back up, we have to vote on a republic president. So go watch Taj, and then you'll get an answer to your question, Islam.
Right, and that's what I'm saying about don't look in the funny mirror, because we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. We're talking about the real government, not any fake government. Hopefully everyone knows. Islam.
Also, yeah, love Ibn Allah Bay. I also affirm too. I'm looking at it as the rise of the matriarchs.
Of course. Thank you.
Islam, Empress Light. I affirm. I love the progress.
Islam. And again, I appreciate the affirmation. Let's do some digging and some research and things of that nature. And please know that last era is done. All of that stuff is done. By the time we get to November, they're going to be handing out delirium, and we're going to be handing out delirium, not they. We are going to be handing out delirium everywhere like we're doing now, and it'll be clearer. What we're stating will be clearer at that time. This is going to be a test of, do you know the difference between last era and this era? Do you know the difference between, and when I say you, I mean all of us. making sure that we all know the difference between what is real and what's the funny mirror. Funny mirror is done. Don't look in it. It's finished. It's a wrap. It doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing. In fact, right now, all we're doing is finishing the overturning of the tables by doing what we're doing with Delarian. So it's something to think about. I will say this: it's not super serious because we're actually running everything already. We're already running everything. It's just think about it, because the system that they were enacting in the last era, that is still our system. Just like banking is our system. The people have to have a say in everything that's going on. And the foreigners and subjects that are here in their proper status, they have to have someone. We're already doing what we're doing. We're already the head. This would be part of the body. Okay, the body has order also. So let's just give it some thought. Again, it's not a yay or nay either way, unless this body in this Congress says that it's yay or nay. Whatever we say is the law. Our only thing is we must unify on whatever it is and agree on whatever it is, whatever happens. If we want to keep doing things the way we're doing them, we can do that. Eventually, things will come up. Islam Empress.
A friend of mine, we were talking about Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Barack Obama understands his nationality.
We know, yes, he does. He knows what he knows.
Yes, and Michelle Obama does not. She still considers herself an African American, and she will, say I'm a descendant of a slave. You remember they made a big deal about that. That was supposed to be something, near and dear to us. But, now that we're discussing this, I don't know how significant it is to others, but it's significant to me. If she does not understand that she has a nationality.
So I'm gonna question that just a little bit about how much she knows, because she did go to the Red House while she was in there. While Barack was in there, they actually went to the Red House and spoke about whatever they spoke about at the Alhambra. And that was at the same time that Barack was standing next to the flag and the picture of Noble Drew Ali and all of that. So we know that when we give them the scripture, they will go by our scripture, because our scripture is the law. And so no one will work for us. No one will buy or sell or do any work unless they are properly identified. We make sure of that. See, that's our job. And that's what we were talking about tonight with Noble Phoenix and the health food place. And, the people that work there, there are employees there at that health food place. They have to know who they are. They have to know who they are. And no one can work for us if they don't know who they are, or work with us if they don't know who they are. They must know who they are. And that's our job to tell them. The Spirit will let them know. But we have to do like Grand Sheikh Taj does and just say, hey, did you know that you have a nationality? Yeah, go ahead. Don't take my word for it. Go ahead and do some research on it. But when it comes to commerce and signing documentation to contract and all of that, it's in the contract, just like U.S. citizen was in the contract. Remember that? Remember when U.S. citizen was in all the contracts? You couldn't be an acting police without declaring that you're a U.S. citizen, and so on and so forth. So Let's hold for discussion until over the next. We'll take the next 3 or 4 because we have other things that we're still talking about also. But we will put this before the Congress just to think about it. Think about it. Take the time. Do your research. We have time. But this is what Congress does, is we write the scriptures for everyone. And that is what we are doing. That's a womb man post. Justice Sharif, when that post is put in its proper place, it's about the womb man. Those who know who she really is call her Big Mike. And I'm just saying. But you know what? She is who she is. She's a matriarch. She's a matriarch. And in my knower, I know she knows that. However, I can't prove that outside of the knowing. So, remember when we first Islam, just a moment, Empress, when we first started doing this work, some of the first offices that we notified was where? D.C.
Office of the President.
Those are some of the first places we notified. We sent documentation after documentation after, so everyone is aware. I just put that there because that's what the Spirit told me. To me, it's my job to speak what the Spirit says to speak. So,
Islam.
So to your question, Noble Phoenix, should we not have other candidates to consider, review, or discuss? That can be done. That can be done. I'm just doing what they told me to do. Islam.
I'm sitting here and I'm digesting everything that you're stating right now. Mm-hmm. But what is interesting for me, I'm looking at the name Obama.
Yeah.
And the first time I'm looking at it and I'm seeing Oba, which means king.
Yeah.
And Ma is mother.
Yeah.
And I know even as I'm sitting here and I'm, rolling around, and Michael, which also means like a god, or who is like God. It's very interesting because I have to tell you, I was wobbled out of my seat. But the word, seriously, I'm seriously here. Yeah. But the words, particularly Obama, that word is speaking to me in words. Yeah. Oba, that was the first thing that came out. Oba, that's king. That's king and Ma. So I'm not making any decisions. I'm not doing because I have my own digging and research and all of those sorts of things. But I know that Spirit's flinging those characters at me in such a way to let me know, don't dismiss, which I don't dismiss anything. I go dig. I go down the rabbit hole. Yeah. But I just wanted to state that because I'm going to tell you that even back in the funny mirror, back in the day when Obama first came on the scene, I was not impressed at all. I mean, I wasn't into politics, but I was not impressed. I have never looked at that word and it's spoken to me in any fashion, let alone coming at me with king and mother. So I just put that out there. I yield.
And then Charles Payne, there's pain is as in funny mirror turns to window pane.
I saw, the pain. I saw that, but I left it because I don't know anything about him. But I saw the pain, Pain, pane,
Yeah.
but yes, the window pane, you see through the window pane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I saw the Charles piece, and the Charles piece immediately went to the monarchy.
Yeah.
That was where,
for me as well.
Not the funny mirror one, but the
real one.
The real one. So
yeah.
I know that just by virtue of that sort of movement within me, and I know you don't make statements lightly, Empress Light. So
I only speak what the ancestors speak through us.
Exactly, and so I know about, like I'm stating, I was, whoa, hang on, but I'm sharing what is passing through me in regards to what you stated. So
yeah,
I know that there's music in there for in some fashion.
Yeah.
So
I will say that initially I thought that we're already doing everything. Why can't we continue doing everything? The ancestor said the estate is too big. It's so big. Now we're governing it. We're governing it. But we are going to have to connect with those that are like-minded in order for everyone is getting in place already.
Yeah.
They're already because they know the change has happened. I heard a hybrid say today in a video, a modern European say in a video today. He said he's looking around and it doesn't look like everybody is changing their identities. I thought, what would make him say that? Why would he be looking for everyone to change their identities? It's almost like he's watching a theater performance and everyone has not taken on their roles yet.
Islam. And historically in the past, when Obama was the president in the enactment, he was historically Democrat. So the fact that it's a Republican form of government, and I don't know the political status of Michelle, but because her husband is, that most likely is, that's what she took on, because that's how it was in the enactment. So for the point of this whole changing the tables over, it would be a great demonstration to demonstrate the category, you were once a Democrat, now you're the Republican form of government. That would be, on the center form of stage, as, lack of a better word. And, just for that whole, demonstration. Would be awesome to know that, see that. That's all.
Well, just one. What I do know is that in the enactment, in the funny mirror, for the last, since John Hanson, the only ones that have been enacted as being in that office were modern ones. Okay, and I'm not saying that whether that's good or bad. It doesn't matter. What I am stating though is that now that we know who's really who's the real government is, who the real government is, we are putting things back the way they should be. And that's why those two, the ancestors spoke them to us, so we said, okay, we know why they said that. We know exactly why they said that. It's because this transition has to look a certain way in order to be It has to look a certain way in order to remain smooth. Let me put it that way. Islam.
Yeah. So that is the part. Why does it have to look a certain way? So that is the thread I'm going to pull.
Yes, pull it.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it. And I'm pulling it from the perspective of I'm a Moor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a matriarch. I'm the arc that is the bridge right now from the era that's passing away to what is our return to ourselves.
Yes.
Okay? And very clearly, I see my family reaching for their memory of themselves. You know what I mean?
You just answered your own question.
They're returning and awakening and rubbing their eyes and moving their arms and their legs. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And a lot of their thoughts, their conscious thoughts and their unconscious thoughts are still stuck in these assumptions that have passed away already. Right?
You answered your own question with those beautiful words. It has to look a certain way, not for our benefit, but for the benefit of those who are not awake yet.
Yes.
We're thinking about first the bloodline and the birthright, our kin. We're thinking about them first. We're thinking about them first. And we also know that we can get we can get a lot. We've already accomplished so much already, but we can get a whole lot done in terms of who we really are if we give them the script that's the right script for people realizing that they are not Negro, Black, colored, and African American. And that's really where all of this is coming from, is somebody somewhere, for the sleeping ones, someone has to say, someone that they look at has to say, you're not Negro, Black, colored, and African American, you actually have a nationality. And we're stating that now that we have control, express control, deliberate control of the systems, command control of the systems. We can have those systems to assist in what we're doing. And that way they don't have to necessarily hear it from us, because some of our kin won't hear it from us because they're a little bit, because of kinship.
Yes.
But they will hear it if on every job they're being told they must declare who they are. Every place they go, every store, every place, the post office, everywhere, the driver's license place, all the things we've put out there is telling them that they must declare who they are. And the best way to do that in a way that is kind and thoughtful.
And yet I am going to pull the thread a little bit more.
Continue.
A little bit more.
Continue.
So,
and you'll answer your own question. Continue.
In this time of illumination, there's been a great deal of clarity about Willie Lynch and the lynch mob, color of law and the blacks, the Negroes and the coloreds, the Buck Act, with the actors, the players and the ballers, and just the whole contracting that has come with the Jesuit oath, that has come in two simple phrases, is ask permission and beg forgiveness, right? And the beg forgiveness has been accept the sin, accept the mark, and pay for it. And so that basically is the energy of the third-party interloper and the contract that goes with it.
Right. And see, we're not talking about the dead. They wouldn't be third-party interlopers because they work for us.
Indeed, but our family is still in the assumptions of the passing era. And so when we present this new, not new, our government, because our government has always been, and always will be.
Yeah.
They still think it's a contract and that they're going to be spoon-fed and fought for, and that they don't choose or self-govern themselves. And that we need to break. That particular piece is what we're healing. That's what that's what we're healing as a nation. And that's why the whole conversation about matriarchs being able to protect, not just only that in her presence all is well, but it is also protected. That the subjects don't subjugate each other, right? Because it's unlawful on the land.
They won't do that. Our subjects are like subjects that are present here tonight. They wouldn't do that.
But there's no subjects here tonight, right? We're Moors. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm bringing this conversation, because we are. You understand? We are Moors. We're well aware of this, right? We're attuned to it. Right.
There are some subjects on the call. There are a couple of subjects on the call. There's one or two subjects on the call. They are modern European subjects on this call tonight. They're here.
And they're listening all the time. I become so aware of that. They listen to everything you say.
So that's what I'm saying. They won't do that. Our subjects won't do that because we're in our rightful place. They will not go outside of. See, the only reason that anything got turned topsy-turvy is because we were enacting being out of our space, out of our place.
Yes.
But when we are doing what we're doing now, our subjects they will do exactly as they should. They will not do that to each other. They won't subjugate each other.
Right.
They won't do that.
So that is the thread that we need to be aware. To our conscious mind, we need to say third-party interlopers are unlawful, and so all of that is done, right?
Yes, it is.
Clear that away. That's the mist that's clearing, right?
Yes. We did it already because the only reason they were interloping was for commercial purposes. Mm-hmm. So now what we're doing is we're stating everywhere that the Moors who are asleep look, they're now going to see proper commerce. Mm-hmm. Listen, starting with money that looks like them.
Yes.
That's going to be part of, because again, that's what that special purpose vehicle called the United States Corporation Company was all about in the first place. Commerce. It was to get the commercial piece the way that it should be. But of course, they did everything the wrong way. We're now doing it the right way. We have restated and presented our own United States for America. And that United States for America is the new hiring employer for anyone doing commerce on the land, to include those two that we just talked about. And so that way, again, our family members, our kin, we're thinking about them the whole time that we're looking at all of this, so that hints can start being made clearer to them everywhere they turn, that there's something about them that they need to know. See, the system was going to change anyway. It was going to change anyway. It was just a matter of who was going to do the changing. Mm-hmm. So we had to do the changing so that everywhere they look, there's little reminders of, hey, there's something you need to know about yourself. There's something you need to know about yourself that is different from what you were told before. And that's what this is all about, is everywhere that everyone does commerce is going to look different, slightly different, so that those who come to do the commerce, when our kin come to do commerce, they're going to see us, our faces, people that look like them, using money that looks like them, and they're going to ask questions. That's all we will for them to do, is to just ask, what is this all about? So we can tell them. And everyone will have a script that they will tell them. You know. So It's always thinking about them, Empress. And let me say this: your heart and my heart are in the exact same place. Mm-hmm. We know that the third-party interlopers were pretending to be government, but we can't do away with government just because of what they did. We must be the real. Yes. We must be the real. We must be the proper commerce on the land. And that's
be the living, right? We must be the living.
Yes, so that they may live. We must. We must. There's no other way to do it, because man knows not by being told.
Islam. Just one word that keeps ringing in my mind is magic. So all it is the proper spell that is the magic that changes everything. And that's really what I can now see this whole thing that is the prophecy of the United States employees being Michelle Obama and Charles Payne is just a magic spell that will change everything from, fool's gold to true gold, and so on and so forth. Islam.
Islam, Justice Dumois.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say, when you showed that first video, that did it for me right there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the people who are talking about Michelle and Barack. In this house, mine, my uncles and their friends they all are saying, I was born black, I'm gonna always be black. But see, when they go to that bank, like them people did in that video, they go understand what I've been trying to say.
Yes.
Because I need to get it all on the public record.
Yeah.
Get those demonstrations done. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Islam.
We're thinking also about our brothers and sisters that have been in POW camps. We're thinking about them too. When they come out, what will they see? Well,
yes, I got a brother in Alabama, Mobile. Been in there since probably 40 years.
Woo.
Yeah.
And what happens when he comes out and he sees first the matriarch leading what they think is government, and then the Moors presenting, and see that these employees will say whatever we will for them to say. They will state whatever we will for them to state. They will, as will all employees. When if I were to go and get a job, I would be saying the same thing I'm saying now. So nothing would even change. I have a job, really. We all do. We're the government. Islam nobility.
Can I get a sidebar after the chat? Like 5 minutes.
I saw what you put in there about an executive order. Can we have that conversation Can we talk about that in the next Congress?
Yeah, of course. But I don't want to talk about that. I just want you to read it. What I want to talk about is something else. And it only takes 5-10 minutes, maybe.
Okay. All right. Islam.
Islam, are you?
Islam. Empress. The Empress that's pulling the strings that I love for her to pull. May I please state that you please, every time you hear a string like that need to be pulled, please pull it. Because that's the stuff that that people think, but they don't say. And that stuff has to come out.
Islam. I am Anajel Mahat Kabade.
Annabelle. I'm going to remember, Empress. Annabelle, I'm going to remember.
Yes, Annabelle.
Annabelle.
Give thanks, Honorable.
Empress, please keep pulling those strings, because those are actually the strings that that the government needs to, because see, you're the government. You should be pulling the strings like that. And keep going in, keep going in, keep going in. Not just for the sake of arguing, but because you're not doing it for that. You're actually doing it to get some good information, so clarity. And I appreciate clarity. We all appreciate clarity, I'm sure.
It's not.
It's so important for us to continue that way as well. Indeed, Islam. With that being stated, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom?
Islam, Empress.
Islam, nobility.
This is for my constitution, but I self-law am master for the universal Moorish American movement, for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity.
Islam.
Ezekiel 37. If you would, just tell me, I'm trying to get my birth certificate filed, recorded. So the surety affidavit and the bond is what I'm missing. So the amount on the surety affidavit, and is there a bond that goes with it? And those amounts are the same?
Yeah, you can create the bond. It's a $100 million bond that goes with our birth certificate that we create. Have you created your own?
Yes, working on it. Yeah, I've got it.
There is a bond that goes with it.
So there's a creditor. Is it the surety affidavit, right? That goes with it.
That's in the bond process. The surety affidavit is a part of the bond process. There's a anywhere from 9 to 12 page bond process. And
I got you. So all of those go with the birth certificate recording.
Yes.
Oh.
And then all you're doing is you are the recorder for it, and then you notify vital statistics. You notify them.
Right. Okay. So I gotta get That's before I've leaned the utility board, sheriff, police chief, the university. Yeah, I've leaned the university, legal department members. And but before I get into the levy and bonding process with that group, I want to get my birth certificate recorded with the register.
When you send notification, so let me clarify some language with you there, nobility.
Okay.
When you create it and send it, that's recording. Because you're the recorder. They don't have the authority to record your stuff, your documents. However, when you notify them, the system will do the rest in terms of recognition.
Okay. Right. So that's where I am, and I wanted to do that and get that cleared up because that's my next step. Once I get that done, then more liens, more levies, and more bonds.
Yes. Thank you for moving forward with that.
Doing my best. It's a lot of work. I'm not a linear thinker. I'm a circular thinker, I think, but it's a lot of work involved. It's a lot of work. Some may have it a lot easier. I just got to the point of being able to do the double-sided Delarium in December.
Yes.
Which brings up another. I tried to do a attribution in December the 31st, but I couldn't get through. I meant to mention that. I don't know if you got another email address or something where they said the box was full.
Yeah, it is full, and it's been full for a while. And it seems like as soon as we empty it or make room in there, it fills back up again.
Okay, I'll keep trying.
And at this point, you know what, Nobility, and this is just a suggestion, I would suggest that you use the government mailing process and mail it to us, and that will give you some assistance with regard to the mailing process, because it's still a trust, and it's a government trust. So
I see. I appreciate that.
Just a suggestion. Islam.
Thank you.
It is a lot of work, but we have a large estate. Our estate is very, very vast. Our estate is very vast. It is work. But what else have we got to do? This is our job. This is our life we're talking about. This is our government. This is the wealth of nations. This is all the wealth at earth that we're talking about. And competent, proper governance and governmental authority, power, ability, intellect, erudition is necessary. And so that's what we're doing. Islam. We know it's a lot, but you know what? Them 40 hours a week was a lot too, but we did it, didn't we? Islam Empress.
Yes, this is Lisa in New Orleans, Louisiana Republic, and I just want to thank you so much for your assistance last time when I was speaking about the banking, and I just wanted to let you know I've not gotten the account as of yet. However, I came in at the moment tonight. I came in at the moment where you were mentioning about the TDA account, about we don't need an account or something. We can deal with the TDA, the U.S. Treasury direct.
We'll just ask that you go back and listen to this video when it goes up on YouTube.
You got it? All right. Okay, cool. Well, thank you again, Empress. I appreciate it.
So, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom from this Congress? And Empress Lisa knows why I said that to her about watching the video again, so she can, because I want her to hear everything that was stated, not just one small thing about an account. And I don't think we mentioned TDA, but that's why I wanted to go back and listen. So with that being stated, if there is nothing further at this time from this Holy Congress, we will adjourn and meet again on Sunday at 6 p.m. Let me tell you that with every meeting that we have, we're just standing and standing and standing and continuing to stand. It's already done. Everything that we've stated is already done. It's just a matter of, do you see that it's been done? Do you see that it's been done? So I've decided to start taking time to show you the way that we started this Congress, prior to the recording starting, to just show you what we see. And I'm glad, I'm grateful that it is assisting Islam. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs, Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising, Morris.
Gratitude, Morris. My
Peace and grand rising from New Orleans.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and love, Morris.
Islam every day.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Islam.